Hey everybody, welcome back to Colony Drop, your favorite Gundam podcast. My name is Isaac.
And my name is Brian, and this is a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise, from the anime to the movies to the music to the models to the OVAs to the lore to the manga. Isaac, you name it, we do it all.
That's right, Brian. We talk about all the greatest stuff, sometimes recent stuff, including recently released anime series like Gundam GQuuuuuuX. Isn't that right, Brian?
It's GQuuuuuuX, Isaac.
Oh, quacks.
Jesus.
The Gundam turns into a Drake.
Just a big robot duck.
Yeah. A gander. It's Gundam Gander.
They're being sued both by Disney and Warner Brothers.
This is the origin of Tall Goose.
Wow, the alternate GQuuuuuuX. It's all about Tall
Zing.
Goose.
Yeah. Where's that alternate?
That's
universe?
amazing. I love that. That's right, Isaac. I mean, it's not every day we get a new Gundam series on TV.
No.
You know, it was 2015 for Iron Blood Orphans, and then a year or two ago for Witch. There was a big layoff from between IBO and Witch, and now GQuuuuuuX.
Yeah.
12 episodes. First, it came out in January for the movie, the beginning. It was episodes 1 to 3. We did a whole review on that, so if you're interested in that, go listen to that episode. It was a few episodes ago. But the TV series ran from April 2025 to June 2025. It just ended this last week. We're recording this on June 29th. As far as I'm aware, it's only really available on Amazon Prime, at least in the U.S., other than the high seas where Isaac gets his, his supply.
Yar.
Yar.
We be fighting the series now.
I guess the nice thing about this one, Isaac, is it was a simultaneous dub release with the sub release on Amazon Prime. So that was kind of cool.
Dare I say, I'm not usually this picky with my terms, but this is a mini series, ladies and gentlemen, because it's very short.
Yeah, that may become an issue. That's one of probably the main complaints for the show. Yeah, only 12 episodes. That's outside of the OVAs and stuff. I mean, that's got to be. I can't think of one that's shorter. So it's not a lot of time these days.
No, and recently it definitely, but wow. What a series, Brian. What a little interesting mini series this was.
It was indeed. And to remind you, listeners, this is the log line. The log line really hasn't changed since the beginning the movie came out, even though a lot has been revealed since then. But the logline again, Isaac, is Amate Yuzuriha is a high school student living peacefully in a space colony floating in outer space. When she meets a girl named Nyan, Amate is drawn into the illegal mobile suit dueling sport known as clan battle. Under the entry name Machu, she throws herself into fierce battle day after day, piloting the GQuuuuuuX. And I gotta say, Isaac, that basically describes almost nothing about this show and what it's actually about.
Absolutely. I'd even say it is downright misleading, Brian, because she does not fight day in, day out in clan battles.
Yeah, I actually counted. There was one in episode 3, one in episode 4, 5, and 7. So that's 4 on screen. There was 3 off screen mentioned, I think, in episode 4. So I think they topped out at like 7 battles, only 4 of which were shown.
That sounds about right, because from what you see from the clan battles, maybe you think to yourself, oh, this series is going to be a little G-Fighter,
right?
A little bit of, boxing Gundams, but that gets wholly overshadowed by an actual war.
That's right. And for those who have, who are listening to this and you have not watched the beginning movie or not heard anything about this series, we're obviously going to spoil the whole thing today, but it's basically turns out to be a total alternate history of the UC, the Universal Century, the Prime Gundam universe, I'll call it, where Char stole the Gundam directly out of Side 7, and he used it, and they basically won the war. And this picks up in UC 0085, and we get our new... I learned a new term researching this show, Isaac, called tritagonists. So instead of protagonists, you had deuteragonists. Now that in this one you had tritagonists because you have Machu or Amate, you have Nyan, and you have Shuji.
Yeah, and even then, like Char gets a lot of screen time. Right. Spoiler alert. Kycilia, even a lot of things are going on. You kind of forget at the end, like, oh yeah, there was like this whole team involved in the clan battle.
Yeah, by the end you're sitting there like episode 10. You're like, so is clan battle done? Like, are we not going back to clan battle? Like, did clan battle even matter?
Imagine watching a movie about like boxers in like 1940. And then, like, World War II happens, like, the boxing match really isn't that important.
Right. But the logline still only talks about boxing. It doesn't mention the war.
No, yeah, a bit of a Easter egg, fortune cookie kind of situation. But Man, I'll say this about this series. I'm starting off with some praise. Absolutely interesting and original. You can't take that away from
Oh,
it, I
sure,
think.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, listeners, I guess before we get too into it, I'm not gonna bother recapping this series because, like Isaac said, it's only 12 episodes, pretty short, and the
Yeah.
episodes do play pretty quickly. I didn't feel bored watching it or anything. I felt it was a quick watch. I don't know how you felt, Isaac.
About the same. Yeah.
I would recommend just go watch the show because there's a lot going on here. So I think there's a lot to talk about. So I'm not going to waste time on the recap, and we might jump around little bit because the show jumps around a lot.
Not just that, but like any alternate UC content, it rewards people that know a lot about the UC, or at least enough to kind of fill in the blanks and compare to the original UC timeline. So us explaining the actual story beat by beat won't be anywhere as good as you actually experiencing it and watching it yourself, especially with all the changes they made to the timeline, little Easter eggs, and especially how the sort of multidimensional aspect starts bleeding into it, which is better seen than heard. Right, Brian?
Yeah, definitely go watch it. Digest it for a while. When I finished the last episode, I literally wrote in my notes, what just happened?
Yeah, really.
Does this mean there will be a season 2? And then I wrote, do we want a season 2? Question mark.
I think when you're, no pun intended, you're done baking your cake, that's it. You got it done there. You don't have to put it back in the oven.
Yeah.
We've had enough cake. You did it. You did what you set out to do.
Yeah, this was a very sweet cake, Isaac. That was actually going to be my analogy at the end of the show for the review. But
sweet cake.
So you want to just jump around and go over our thoughts? Any particular place you want to start, Isaac?
I'll just tee us off here. A lot of these battles that we've seen, not just clan battles, but the actual war and stuff, beautifully animated.
Oh yeah,
incredibly well done. I know some people have a lot of issues with the blending of a lot of anime with the more graphics type animation style, but I feel like it worked very well here, and it still appeared as enough of anime rather than just being fully computer rendered, even though most of it was computer rendered even as anime. But what I'm trying to say is the space battles themselves were pretty great, I felt.
Yeah, I thought it looked great
Yeah.
full way through. I don't think any episodes lagged. Because sometimes you get shows where you can tell they spent all the budget on this episode. Or I feel like we didn't really have that problem here. In fact, I would say actually the animation probably only got better as it went on. And maybe that was because the stakes did pretty much always increase in this show. But yeah, it looked really good. I liked it quite a bit.
I'd put the matching of the anime right up there with Gundam Seed Freedom.
Yep.
Pretty high quality space fighting if you like the space combat stuff. They're not going to Earth much.
No.
So if you're a ground combat person, this isn't the series for you, unfortunately.
There was almost no Earth action really here other than the Rose of Sharon. All right, Isaac. This show had one of the opening songs that I actually liked for the first time in a while. I thought it was pretty good for the show, whereas I felt like the Witch one didn't really match the show. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I was up and down on some of the Iron-Blooded Orphan ones. This one I really felt like, even if I don't love that song, I feel like it perfectly matches the tone of the show. It felt very Fooly-Cooly to me, and obviously same team. And the director of the music video said that the main theme of the song is the initial impulse during a girl's first encounter with something that she will pursue with passion for the rest of her life. And I was like, yep, that kind of describes what happened.
That's another thing, the ages, but we'll get back to that later. The music, yes, pretty great intro. Kind of cyberpunky vibes to it, which works. But I describe the music as fun.
Right.
Kind of a good pop to start the show.
Right. And this show overall was fun, I think, at the end of the day. I think I went into it thinking, okay, there better be all this really big world building and all this stuff. And then at the end of it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. They made that show because it was fun.
Yeah. You almost have to read between the lines for a lot of the world building.
Yes.
And pay attention to a lot of dialogue, really, because certain sentences mean a lot.
Yes, and they only get said one time.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the reason maybe it should have been in this short format, this miniseries format, because we got a wacky story, we did weird things with the timeline. Here's the story, we're in and we're out, we're done.
Yes.
So I can see that strategy completely, and I think for the most part, it was successful.
I agree. I think by the end of it, I think they had won me over. I think there was still a lot of things that don't make sense, and maybe they don't care that they don't make sense, and that's fine because I think, like you said, this show was a fun dessert cake for longtime fans of the Universal Century who wanted to point at things every episode and go, oh, it's the thing, it's the guy, it's her, I know that, that's what that is. Okay, it was 12 episodes of that hidden behind this delivery vehicle of clan battle, which kind of ended up really not mattering all that much.
Yeah, definitely. It was very much a wink and a smirk for the UC fans, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. I feel like Machu, is very young looking, if not maybe the youngest looking Gundam pilot we've had.
Youngest looking. Are you're not counting like the build fighters?
I wouldn't really call him a pilot. And
all right, that's fair.
I'm splitting hairs, but hang on, he doesn't get into the cockpit because he's essentially playing a video game.
That's true. What about the characters in age? They're drawn pretty young.
Yeah, she's supposed to be 16, really?
Machi's supposed to be 17.
Wow. She doesn't look that old, especially when like some of the the members of the clan, I forgot what their names were.
Yeah, the Pomeranians.
Yeah, what was her the redhead's name?
The leader girl?
Yeah.
Anki, I think.
Anki. The guy with black short hair is talking to her in their office. And she's like, I followed her to like learn more about her.
Oh, yeah.
And he's kind of surprised, like, I guess at the violation of like, someone's privacy.
Yeah.
But then she raises the point like, well, she's just a kid. Like, it wasn't that hard to follow her.
Sure, yeah. She's taking no precautions.
Yeah, but calling her a kid made me think, oh, she's not a teenager. She's maybe junior high level or something like that. But I guess not. Apparently, she's supposed to be, once again, we're at the mercy of the animators in Japan who draw a character and then give them an age that we never think matches what they look like.
I mean, they do have her in cram school, which is basically like studying for college entrance exams, I think, in Japan. So I think that was your tip off that she's supposed to be basically a senior in high school. Or pretty close to it.
I guess. But sadly, I'm unfamiliar with the Japanese educational system, and I assume she was just another uniform student at like a junior high or something.
Yeah, well, you clearly didn't do your research, but...
I guess not, no, yeah. But everybody else looked, I don't know, character animation-wise, pretty great and unique. There were times I was looking at the screen, not just at the characters, but the mobile suits too, and I thought to myself, this doesn't look like Gundam. But at the same time, everything, like the wording that they were using and stuff and the actual plot of the story was all very Gundam because it's so tied to the UC. So that was an interesting sort of juxtaposition, I thought.
The only times it was a little jarring to me was when you'd have all the original people on screen, and then especially once Char got his uniform back.
Yeah.
In that Magic Girl transformation sequence from the Zeknova or whatever, when it just appeared on his body, that was pretty funny. I feel like that definitely doesn't go with the new designs, even though I know why they kept it. It was kind of weird seeing like Machu and then boom, Char Aznable.
Yeah. Some things I had some questions about, like my headcanon now for the black tri-stars or black bi-stars, I guess, in this situation, is that since whoever it was it Gaia who got married and like just abandoned the other two?
Oh yeah, what? Yeah,
or was it Nash?
It might have been Mash.
Okay, to sort of keep part of his suit with them, they only took like a leg each and added it to their DOMs.
Oh, you know what? I hadn't even thought about that. Was it just their DOMs that had 3 legs, or was it all DOMs?
It was just their DOMs. Well, we didn't see other DOMs.
The only other one we saw was a Shalia piloted one.
Really?
Yeah, in like the beginning part where they show the flashback.
Oh.
He's piloting a blue DOM. But that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. So I wonder if that means only their DOMs have 3 legs and they took his.
Yeah, I assume like now that they're space truckers and like funds aren't exactly very high for their clan.
Sure.
They essentially cannibalized the one DOM that they no longer had a pilot for. So
that makes great sense. I love that. I've never seen anyone make that observation. So wow.
There you go. You need your DOM expert.
Yeah, leave it to Isaac to make the DOM conclusion. I love that.
Wrote a 1,000 word essay and posted it on Reddit about why the DOM was clearly cannibalized.
Speaking of Anki, I thought she was a really good character. She kind of went in and out of the series. Some episodes she was heavily there, and then kind of towards the end, you really didn't see her much anymore.
Yeah.
She did have that one really great line, though, early on, when she said, "Space Noise will never be free, even though Xeon won." And I thought that was very interesting. Like, is this what you pictured in a Xeon victory world? Because I think as a lot of the Xeonists, they like to think, oh, this is for Space Noid independence, and then Xeon kind of ends up being a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, or very much distant for a lot of the show.
Right.
Like the only presence of Xeon is the rocking horse, the Sodom.
Right.
But no, not at all what I pictured as Xeon victory, because I don't think this is a Xeon victory so much as it is a Xeon, how do I put this? Xeon becoming more powerful than the Federation, but not conquering the Federation, because the Federation still exists in this situation. Sounds like, they mentioned them pulling back. I wish they'd went into that a bit more.
Sure.
I'm not sure where they withdrew. It could be all the sides, could be the sides just near Xeon, or maybe they could have fully pulled back just to the planet Earth. I don't know. But whatever that means, it clearly shows that the Federation's still around. Clearly they're up to no good if they're putting out their own advanced mobile suits that can do these sort of sneak attack, sneak missions inside neutral colonies. And
yes.
well, Side 6 sounded like it was half neutral, pretty much a Xeon ally at that point.
Yeah, it didn't seem like they were too happy to have the soda on there pretty much the whole show.
I'm surprised they had their own Solomuses, but I guess that ship's around forever, so might as well take it.
Right.
But yeah, not a full Xeon victory that we all have in our heads of them marching around and, you know, putting up their black and red flags in every colony on Earth, and none of that happened.
So you wanted total victory, is what you're saying. You don't want none of these half measures.
Yeah, this was like Xeon's barely came out on top by the skin of their teeth, and even they keep always saying like, oh, you know, Xeon doesn't have a lot of money. I think someone said that to Cameron Bloom or something.
Yeah,
we don't have a ton of money right now either. It's like, well, for a victor, you don't sound like you're doing that great. I guess the Federation, as usual, can always pull together enough resources to build their own. It was pretty much a Gundam. Well, a giant Gundam / mobile armor.
Yeah, so you mentioned the Federation and basically Amala Kamala, which is, I guess, the new Titans, pretty much.
Yeah.
So two things on the Federation. I get that Shar stole the RX-78 too, and then I know that he destroyed the RX-78 1. But, like, why didn't they just make another Gundam?
Yeah.
Did they not use OneDrive or Google Drive? Or, like, where were the files? Like, am I missing something there?
You can almost say that in the first series, right? Why didn't they just do it? They just went straight to the mass production of the gym.
I mean, they made other Gundams. They just weren't in the original show. So, but I could see that.
God.
Okay.
Yeah. The endless train of Gundams.
Yeah, I'll give you the mass-produced gun cannon thing.
Yeah.
But then, speaking of like how far they pulled back, but they still exist. When Kycilia parks the solar ray right above Earth,
yeah,
why are they not doing anything about it?
So at that point, the solar ray, from what we gleaned, would be marketed as some type of energy program, right? Very, I don't know if you've seen Andor, but they said the same thing about the Death Star.
Correct.
It's like, oh, this is about energy.
But like, who would believe that?
The Federation might be in a position to not do much about it since they're the weaker power at this point. Although the perfect opportunity to strike was during that little Xeon Civil War.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's when you launch all your...
Missed their opportunity. But it should have raised a lot of questions on why the Federation did nothing for the solar ray, which I assumed, based on Kycilia's belief that Earth needed to be wiped out, was obviously going to be used to burn the Earth, right?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't going to, warm their plants like she wanted.
It looks so different than the original solar ray, too. It was like a flower.
Oh, it looks much more imposing, yeah.
Well, it would have worked if she got away with it, but nope, she got the same... God, I felt so bad for her. She just can't escape her fate, no matter what timeline she's in. It's always Shar, the same weapon.
It seems like the constants are Shar must kill her, and she must kill Giran.
Yeah, and Giran must kill Dagon.
Right, yeah.
And Dozel dies still.
Yeah, poor Dozel didn't make it. So I know because Kycilia said that she can't forgive Patricide. Does that mean that he still used the like original solar ray? I wasn't clear on that.
I assumed it to mean that this is this universe's first instance of the solar ray. They didn't need to rush it because...
Right, they had the Gundam, yeah.
Yeah, but he must have been killed under other means that Kycilia is clearly aware of. I don't know.
Got it.
Poisoned his tea or something. I don't know. She shot him in the original series with a beam weapon after he used an even larger beam weapon to kill Dagon. So in this series, maybe he used a poison against Dagon. And in this series, she uses poison gas against him and that other admiral and then his attaché in the room.
Poor Cecilia. So,
yeah.
Well, since you mentioned Kycilia and Giran, does this... I guess it's kind of a repeat of the last question, but does this Kycilia Giran Cold War make sense to you if they had both lived? Because that's what this is, right? Because I feel like a lot of What If don't have both of them making out of the 1 year war. This is a rare circumstance where they both lived. And so does the like whole Kycilia never leaving Granada for the last 5 years, does that make sense?
Depending on like how things played out, I went along with it. It didn't bother me too much. And the Cold War between them does make sense. Her striking first also does make sense. Although it would have been a good kind of callback if, like, I don't know, we heard over the radio or whatever that, the Lost Fleet's causing trouble for her own coup that was happening at the same time in Side 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went along with it. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty believable.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it made a lot of sense because they hated each other. So it made perfect sense to me for them to basically just not talk to each other after the conclusion of the previous thing they were working on until they absolutely had to talk.
Yeah, I was wondering if we're ever going to see Garen. I didn't know if he was going to actually show, but glad to see him, and then he's gone.
But by the way, Isaac, did you watch the dub or the sub?
I watched the dub.
Okay, good. Did you notice there were a bunch of different pronunciations in this show? Do you think they did that on purpose?
Like what?
So they called the Big Zom the Big Zam. They called Giren Giren. They called Psychomuse Psychomuse or Psychomuse.
Yeah.
And then Xavier. I thought that was hilarious. Why? His name is Xavier. Why do they keep calling him Xavier? Just spell his name differently if you're not going to call him Xavier. But that one really cracked me up.
I thought about that, but then I realized, okay, he might be like French ancestry or something, because that's the French way of pronouncing Xavier.
Is it really? Okay, so, well then I'm just uncultured.
So I was going along with it, because at first I heard his name and I was like, are they saying Javier, or is this like a new space name, like someone named Seabook?
Yeah.
And then I actually pulled up his character name and I was like, oh god, it's just Xavier. So
right.
They're pronouncing it the French way because maybe his last name's French.
It is French. I think he's definitely French.
Okay.
But I've never heard a French person say Xavier. So again, I guess I'm just not cultured enough. But for 4 episodes in my notes, I was calling him Isabe because I couldn't understand what the hell they were saying.
Yeah. Site 6 military intelligence that was interviewing him was like, they're very polite because they go by your last name and they use that language's pronunciation.
Right.
Xavier. Man, he was overshadowed quick in the story. I thought he was going to be like the threat ace, you know, because of how he's introduced. But nope. Almost everybody in the story introduced early, which is somewhat of a weakness, I think, in the story, is overshadowed by characters that are much bigger in UC content.
Yeah, I definitely think our tritagonist, I feel like I ended up really not caring too much about them by the end.
Yeah.
They introduced this mystery up at the front, and then in order to avoid revealing the mystery too early, they basically put you on this few episode course with these new characters. But then all the old characters came back at the end and stole their thunder. Very similar to like See Destiny when the whole old cast just shows up and you're like, we don't need those new guys anymore. And so yeah, I think it kind of hurts the new kids if you end up caring about them. But like when you think of this show, do you think about the new kids or do you just think about all the cool stuff that happened with the old guys?
Not at all, because the new kid story gets completely overshadowed. By the end of it, even though they're pilots, they're very much just reduced to sort of witnesses about what's going on with this multiverse, which happens a lot in any story that does multiverse stuff, because you have to, by default of it being a multiverse, you have to do callbacks to previous events in the original universe, and then you have to bring back characters that you're not seeing, and that's exactly what we got. As for the original cast that was all new and stuff, I was kind of excited to see like this sort of Battle Clan plot where they I don't know, originally I thought they were going to work their way up like the tournament brackets in the different sides or something.
Yeah.
That's put aside by like episode 3 or 4. It's pretty clear that's not going that way, and this quickly turns into like intrigue and and then leading up to a civil war. But man, I'm almost like, what could have been if we saw the little clan team, leveling up the Gundams and modifying them and fighting bigger and better mobile suits or mobile armors. We'll never know, because that's its own story. And then I think that was kind of interesting too, that they had sort of a bit of a Formula F1, not Gundam, but like their actual racing, like kind of pit crew, management crew, team approach to it, that we were, I don't want to say robbed, but bait and switched.
You're right. That's a whole separate story that they could have been.
Yeah.
And I kind of would have liked to see the Fooly Cooly people do that story. That doesn't necessarily mean that this one was bad, but yeah, I agree. It is kind of a bait and switch. So I don't really know how to feel about that.
I'd say I have mixed feelings overall about the series. Glad to experience it. It was good Gundam content. I love a good alternate timeline. We got some great experiences though. Definitely great characters to see. Even little one-offs like the witch. Oh, she was so cool. I liked her method of fighting with like the grappling hook that she shoots into your enemy, and then now she's like tethered to you, so she can really do like unusual type of combat.
Right. Oh yeah, the witch. So okay, this brings me to one of my points. What is with all this bad parenting in Gundam? Okay, what is with all these people abandoning their children? So you had Talia Gladys in See Destiny, who leaves her like a 3-year-old and instead chooses to die on this ship. You had Iria Solari in Requiem for Vengeance purposely not go back to her kid, whose dad is also dead, And now you got Shiko, the witch, in GQuuuuuuX. Machu asks her, why would you do this even if you have a kid? And she says, well, to get something you want, which in this case is the destruction of the Red Gundam, you have to give something up. And so she's willingly choosing to give up her kid, Isaac, just to get a chance at killing the Red Gundam. That's ridiculous.
It is a bit of a theme because even Kycilia later on, I think towards the end or something, she says something about motherhood, right? Like, oh, maybe I could have been a good mother or something, or a bad mother.
Yeah,
And then, but at the same time, I'm like, well, Amuro had like parents, and like, I know they weren't like maybe the best parents all the time, but he came out good. And then I'm like, well, Kycilia, Girin, and Dozel and Garma and Sasro had Dagwin, but like, they all came out as evil people.
Well, Dagwin doesn't strike me as a very involved father.
I don't know. We see him dancing with Kycilia a lot, and he clearly cared a lot for Garma. I think he had favorites, clearly.
Oh, absolutely.
Which probably had a huge impact on certain kids.
I would guarantee that, in fact.
Yeah, we need a parenting episode.
Dude, I feel like most Gundam is driven by poor parenting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's true in life.
So it has to have some impact. But at the same time, some people have done great despite certain circumstances. And other people, like, it's like, well, you had a great home. And then, like, they're in the news as, like, the serial killer or something. It's
That's
like,
true.
well, sometimes no matter how you water the plant, the fruit comes out bad.
Going back to Bask and Amla Kamala.
Man.
So I was not surprised necessarily to see Bask. I figured if you had your mix of people to choose from that you were going to put in this show.
Who would they send?
I knew they would put Bask in there. What I didn't expect it to be so much of like that whole episode was very much like, if you didn't watch Zeta, none of this means much to you. And Double Zeta, because he brought back Gates Kappa, who I haven't thought about in like 20-something years.
Right, yeah.
And then they introduced Du Murasame, who's basically a mix of like Pull 2, 4, and like Stellar, kind of from Destiny, with the whole like I am a Gundam type of thing in very nuts. Yeah. Like right away, Gates Kappa is just a deep cut in my opinion. And that was cool to see him in the Hambrabi. That was a nice redesign.
I thought he would do better.
He did very poorly. He got immediately annihilated. But Isaac, so she pilots the Psycho Gundam. That was in the context of a clan battle. I know they were trying to assassinate Kycilia, but
yeah,
how is that thing fair at all in clan bat? Are there no rules in clan bat in terms of like what equipment you can bring?
It did sound like that went into that pretty blind compared to like their first clan battle where they kind of knew the team they were going up against.
Right.
I think they even knew the mobile suits.
They did, yeah.
Even the TriStars, I think they kind of knew. This time, though, oh my God, they were essentially fighting like military hardware.
Yeah, and everyone said, oh, this is the top team. They can't be beat. And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, if they've been using this on everyone else, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, how did you not know what they were sending? Like, shouldn't you know what your opponent is sending? But whatever. That was a pretty good weakness, a pretty strong weakness, I should say, in that episode. And also, Bascom just kind of, I guess we have to infer he watched the battle and then just kind of shrugged and said, well, I tried.
Right, because we just never saw him again, right? Like they should have brought him back for like the attack on the solar ray from the Federation perspective or something. But
yeah, Jamatov would send him. He wouldn't go himself.
Maybe that was a cut episode or something. And then also on the Psycho Gundam, Isaac, do you think this new version of the Psycho Gundam is more destructive than the Destroy Gundam?
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Because I felt like the Destroy Gundam was trying to show up the Psycho Gundam and just be like, oh yeah, you guys did this in the 80s. Well, I'm going to do this now in the 2000s, and it's going to be the Psycho Gundam, and I'm going to turn up the destruction. And now I feel like the Psycho Gundam people were waiting for years and years, and they finally got their opportunity, and like the Psycho Gundam finally got off the couch and was like ready to deliver that return slap and be like, hold my beer, and he just went out and just like melted the whole city. So which one do you think is more destructive?
I'm definitely going to give it to the Destroy Gundam, just because it seemed to have more weapons. It's got the hand beams. So there's circular beams that come out of it, and then the two big main cannons, some chest cannons. This version of the Psycho Gundam, which was it had a great appearance, I thought. Very unique to have. I don't even know if we should consider it a Gundam because it was faceless, except for that freaky face that it has underneath its like armor panels.
When it took off the plating, that was pretty
and then
freaky.
It got a little Hyakushiki, I thought, when it revealed its sort of gold skeletal frame. It was
it made me think of a Titan from Attack on Titan.
Yeah, very interesting. Its armor disconnected, which I'm surprised surprised your armor would leave your body in combat. But I guess if you want to collide with the enemy, sure. But yeah, it was a very interesting battle. And I kind of felt like, well, with the damage that it's done, I think the colony should start evacuating. There's probably a hole.
Yeah, that oxygen's on its way out.
Pretty brilliant for Bascom or whoever was behind it to say, well, look, we'll have a clan battle near Kycilia, and then we'll kill her or like kidnap her, whatever the plan was.
We'll just blow the whole colony up, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of a dumb course of action in that battle to say, well, we're going to take out Kycilia, but you don't actually shoot at the building she's in.
Yeah.
Art imitating life at this point.
Okay, let's talk about our 3 new characters, Machu, Neon, and Shuji.
Sure.
Did you have a favorite out of those 3, or were they all kind of whatever for you?
Well, I'll definitely say Shuji was my least favorite because he kind of fades into the background during the middle, I felt.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I think he had a lot of promise, so I was kind of interested to see where this would go.
Yeah.
And then by the end, I was really waiting for like the Amuro transformation, and it never happened.
Yeah, what even is Shuji at this point? Because he feels very much like he should be Amuro to be the analog to Char in this story, but he's not. So he's just like some other dude who also loves Lala, who's been reality hopping with her.
See, all signs point to, in the dialogue especially, he's Amuro. He's Amuro that had gone through the dimension, I guess, and this is his form here in this universe, but we never got the sort of transformation that I was waiting for that visually we got from Char, where he becomes Char. So I think that was an error not to show that.
Maybe. Okay, I have a theory here.
Okay.
Shuji is like high the whole time on Kira Kira, right?
Sure.
Like he's painting this thing. Maybe he was actually really also high on paint fumes though, and he forgot that he was actually Amuro. Because if you notice, Isaac, he painted all those Kira Kira murals with no mask. Probably no other protection, no eye protection, no hand protection. He's using outside spray paint.
Yeah.
That's no joke. He's inhaling all that stuff. We got bad messaging in this show. Listeners, if you're going to be spray painting, you got to put some protection on. Some PPE equipment. You got to cover those eyes, wear a respirator. Shuji should be dead for the amount of paint fumes that he inhaled in that small space that he had the Gundam in. That was a confined area. I think he may have gotten actually high. He may have destroyed his brain, and he may not remember that his name is Amuro Ray.
Yeah, you might be right, because, man, just what a missed opportunity. And the paint was pretty cool. I thought that might figure more. I thought they were going to kind of level up their base, because his little underground sewer home, I thought that was kind of cool.
It was, yeah.
I thought there'd be a lot more time spent there, and we never go back there, really.
It kind of reminded me of like, do you remember in Ninja Turtles 2 when they come upon the train station and they gradually dress it up and then it becomes their home? Like that could have been their train station sewer home.
Pretty much. It's underground. I thought they were going to clearly hide the mobile suits there. They'd have like the mech bay. All kinds of stuff could have happened if they actually did a clan battle show. But that went out the window pretty quick as the actual Zeon Civil War plot kind of overshadowed it. Machu has to be my favorite, because even then, I say she's my favorite because I liked her more than Neon. All right, Nyan. I liked her more than her because she kind of loses a lot of her agency and becomes sort of just Kycilia's puppet until her betrayal of Kycilia. So that was sort of a lost cause of a character, because we've already seen Kycilia's henchmen and henchwomen.
Yeah.
So there's nothing new under the sun there with the aces that answer to her, the officers that answer to Kycilia. It's the same old story. Machu at least was somewhat unique in her journey, right? Her mom's like, I guess a chief in the IRS, or they called her chief. So at first I was like, oh God, she's a police chief. And then I was like, well, they said she was actually not really the police. It was something else, some internal government agency chief.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was a missed opportunity too, where she probably should have been the chief of police, and that would have sort of raised the stake.
Yeah.
But Machu at least had a more interesting story where she kind of goes from wanting to do the clan battle to really getting kidnapped by Shalia. sent to that horrible sex slave
the brothel.
mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. As like, why would you think that would be a safe place to put her? I mean, granted, she was safe, but like, she did try to escape too.
Well, but then the whole place like blew up. Remember?
Yeah. Well, because those servants there burned it down because it was such a horrible.
What was
place.
that place filled with though? Because it went from like not on fire to full on backdraft level blaze.
I assume it's a case of like, well, people that probably have never committed arson, they like
they overdid
think they're
it.
lighting a small, yeah, they think they're starting a distraction fire, and then unfortunately they overestimated the type of fire they set, and the building's gone.
It was massive.
But yeah, Machu at least had her interesting progression, kind of unique progression in Gundam for going from someone who's going to do clan battles and a student to now being like part of this Xeon Civil War to finally at the end a witness to multiple universes. So she's kind of in her own category, at least for that, as far as any Gundam pilots in UC history. How about you? What's your ranking for the three tritagonists that sort of faded away in the shadow of Char and Kycilia and to an extent Amuro and Lala?
Yeah, I think I would put Machu at the top just because she was the most self-insert. If I'm a teenager watching this show, like you'd probably relate to her the most, right? Because she's not super satisfied with her life. She's not very career oriented. She feels like she doesn't belong. She has like a so-so relationship with her parents, her mom. Oh, they never really show her dad, right? Her dad's alive. They mentioned him, but we didn't see him on screen, which is kind of odd. But she felt very like Fooly Cooly protagonist.
He's with Daewon's wife.
Oh.
Everyone who's off screen that we only hear about is with the other people that we don't see.
Just having a party. So I thought she was fine. I don't think that she, like you said, a lot of the story ended up like not really, she like participated in it, but I don't feel like it wasn't really about her. Like she was kind of participating in someone else's story, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I don't feel like she's like a fully realized protagonist, I guess. Because like if you look at the original Gundam, right, like Char, Amuro, and Lala, like they end up duking it out all the way to the end. Like they are directly involved and it's their story. And here she's involved, but it's not really like we still are only really caring about Char and Lala and Amuro. And she's just kind of playing a part. And same thing with Shuji. So it's kind of strange.
A bit unfortunate, really, that our tritagonists ended up getting overshadowed. But for what they were, I'll say this: they did have a lot of interesting elements to them. There was sort of the neon betrayal of Machu.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Neon, she's bottom of my list.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was very likable. I don't understand why you would like Neon as a character.
Yeah.
She aggressively horns in on Machu's guy being Shuji. She kind of sees Machu's liking Shuji. She wants to get in on this Kira Kira thing, and then she like takes off her clothes and cools herself against the Gundam alongside Shuji, and then kind of Machu has to do it too. That was awkward. And then after the Psycho Gundam fight, she suggests escaping with Shuji without Machu. I thought that was pretty underhanded. Then she ends up like killing thousands, right, at a Baoku with the solar ray, and then she's gonna do it again by aiming it at Earth.
Yeah.
And like there was really no repercussion. You know what it reminds me of, Isaac? There's this part where Machu kind of calls out Neon and she asks her all these like logical questions like, how did you get here? Why did you disappear? Where did you go? And then Neon says, well, I don't know how it all happened either, but like I'm here. It reminds me of those videos where you see like drunk teenagers after they get arrested for killing someone in a DUI, and they're still drunk talking to the police, and they're like, okay, but like when do I get to go home? And the police are just like, no, you don't understand, like you're going to jail.
Yeah.
That's what she reminds me of, like just a person who doesn't understand what she's getting herself into.
Wow. I feel like by the end of the story, and this is, brace yourself listeners for this comparison, hear me out, I feel like this is a lot like Akira, where Akira, we started with like a bike gang, and then by the end of the story,
it's a good comparison,
there's like
actually.
Powerful telepaths that have opened a massive portal that swallowed most of Tokyo, Neo Tokyo, into another dimension, and then like the mind of Tetsuo has traveled across the universe. That's very much what happens in this story.
Yeah, that is actually quite accurate. Wow.
We start with like these sort of delinquents and young people that are kind of half criminals with these clan battles, and then by the end you're like, oh yeah, I forgot at the beginning, Nyan was working for like Uber Eats.
We just wanted to ride bikes.
Yeah, Shuji was like kind of half an artist trying to buy like a sandwich. And then Machu was like running from like the beat cops. And by the end of it, there's a Xeon Civil War. They're all in cockpits kind of watching it. Sort of, I mean, it's fighting, but at the same time, not super important because there's like way more powerful people fighting like Shalia Bull and Char.
Right.
There's a super weapon as usual in Gundam.
You gotta have the super
and
weapon.
Then the story's over.
And then we relax on a beach.
Yeah, everybody kind of forgives themselves and like, well, we'll go to the beach. What happened to Shuji? Shuji wasn't at the beach though, right?
No, he wasn't. No.
Went to another universe.
We don't know what happened to Shuji. He just kind of faded away. So that brings me to the love triangle between these three. So for the longest time, it's just those two crushing on Shuji, which I'm not sure that really makes any sense. They don't really say why they like Shuji other than he likes the Kira Kira and they, I guess, want to like the Kira Kira too. And so for some reason they're drawn to him. I don't think that really makes sense, but then again, I guess some teen romance doesn't really make sense. I mean, people are just attracted to who they are, especially at that age.
For 12 episodes, though, it felt very shoehorned in.
Oh, very shoehorned in. But what was even more shoehorned in was when, so at the very end, right, you get all this revelation that Shuji's reality hopping with Lala to end her pain. He's been killing her in all of her realities to end her realities. He's like, oh, I just don't want her to feel pain. I love Lala, blah, blah. So he's doing all this. His whole life revolves around this Lala, this girl he loves. And then he's like, nah, but F that. I love you, Machu. And then they kiss. Oh, I like yelled out loud, Isaac, when they kissed. I was like, no, this makes zero sense.
Yeah. Personality-wise, he didn't seem too interested in really anybody other than like his robot and art.
Right. Yes.
His mind's on like cloud 9. He's not really, he's half in the present. And then the whole, oh, by the way, I'm pretty much Amuro without saying I'm Amuro. And then I'm gone from the story.
Yeah. So I feel like if that was the climax of their three's story together, like, I don't know. I don't think the love triangle did not work for me, and neither did the resolution.
No, too shoehorn in. I would have almost said, yeah, that would work as poorly as if they try to shoehorn in like a space princess storyline or something. You know, like, oh, your real name is Imachu. It's actually Minerva. And then I would have thrown my hands up and say, what?
I was waiting for the reveal that she was Haman.
Speaking of shoehorned in, Artesia becoming the leader of Xeon, like, what? They refer to it as if she's kind of just around and they can just pick her up as becoming the princess anytime they want. Wasn't she also in hiding at this point? No?
I read people saying that there was like a cut arc on Earth that would have explained this. And if that's true, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me because that whole revelation, like Shalia turning on Char in favor of Artesia, just the presence of Artesia in general needed to be expanded upon, because if you watch the beginning, the movie, they show the part where Char sees Artesia and he doesn't kill her in the gun cannon. Yeah. They take that out of the flashback here in this one and they show it later on, I think in episode 8, but they still don't even say who she is in this show, if I'm not mistaken. So if I'm a new person, Isaac, who's never watched Gundam before, or maybe I watched Witch from Mercury, let's say, and you're serving me this Gundam now, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and because I like Fooly Cooly, or I like this Machu girl, and I see this big plot point about Artesia, and Char doesn't do something, and this happens, I have no idea who Artesia is.
Yeah, you'd had to have been a UC fan. Pull up the name, and then know it in your head, and go, oh my god, they're referring to her.
Right.
But if her name's being thrown around already, her original name, by the way, it raises the question of why has none of the zombies taken her out? Because she is an obvious threat. It's one thing for Char to go around with a mask and a fake name, but her going around with her real name, oh my god.
I mean, maybe she did have a different name. I don't know. I guess they didn't say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have no problem with her coming back at the end. That was cool, but it wasn't really part of the show until it was part of the show, and then all of a sudden it was a big part of the show. So it felt it definitely felt shoehorned in, or at least something that could have been expanded on. Like, we needed a whole episode where they reveal that Shalia is working with them and whoever she's aligned with. I mean, Ramba Ral was there at the end standing next to her. I don't know if did you catch that? It was in like the one frame.
I did.
You know, she's only on screen for about 5 seconds.
Blink and you'll miss it. I'm like, oh, blue uniform, mustache. That's Ramba Ral. He's her right-hand man.
Which is great. I have no problem with that. But she didn't even say any words. She had no lines, right?
No, she just kind of walks up the steps, looks back at the cheering people of Xeon, and I think based on her personality, you can kind of infer that things are going to take a better course for the Earth sphere at that point.
Right. The Daikun family got their happy ending that people always wanted. Although that wasn't the Xeon that you wanted. You wanted the Zabi Xeon. But
hear me out, Brian. I've never heard a good argument against this, but Xeon did best when Daewon was running the show.
I don't know. Write in, listeners. Tell Isaac why he's wrong.
I will battle you to the death on this point. There is no argument that can defeat me.
Were there particular parts of Xeon, like in this art style update, that you enjoyed? Like, for example, I really enjoyed the Xeon uniforms of the Sodon crew. Yeah. I thought those were like tastefully updated in like a muted way, but they were like respectable to what came before. Maybe they were like less villainous, perhaps, and that was probably what they were trying to do, since they were kind of our good guys, I guess.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty cool uniforms, especially Shalia Bulls. Let's see, visual stuff. It was interesting seeing the green Guazine.
Oh, yes.
Again, this very unique looking solar ray, which I'm wondering how the hell does it work. The flashback with Shalia talking about the Jupiter fleet.
Oh, that was great.
Switching to sort of manga look. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. Very, very unique art choice. And then we see Xeon's version of their Jupiter fleet. See him in like the old school uniforms, which are pretty much phased out.
I liked Shalia's ace pilot name. He was the Gray Ghost. I thought that was great all around. Had alliteration. Fitted in with the lore that he kills you before you can see him. Cool sounding name. I like that a lot.
Yeah, he does with the all-range attack. Oh, this is a very, very small thing, but Neon.
Yep.
They take her to on Granada. She's put into a room, or at least she's assigned a room that is white and gold. This isn't a very big kind of thing unless you're Xeon. Or Xeon fan, but that's sort of the decor of the Xeon Elite. Very classy and timeless. You'll also notice the pure white and gold trim decor in Unicorn. And when Full Frontal was staying at like the head of the one colony that's loyal to the sleeves.
Yep.
Pretty much a palace that's white and gold.
Oh, interesting. Good catch.
And also in I think it was Origin. Oh no, maybe it was what did we watch recently where like they show like the Federation taking control of Bawaku? Oh well, it'll come to me. But anyways, again, the uniforms there and a lot of the interior I think was white and gold trim.
Oh, maybe it was Thunderbolt.
There you go, Thunderbolt. So I thought that was very interesting, showing the wealth and status she kind of had in Granada just by being so close to Kycilia. Also, really interesting, speaking of Kycilia, she bakes.
Yeah, I guess Neon wanted her to try some of her baking, right, or something like that.
She also wanted to remind you, like, I also cook for myself, which I'm sure it's also a hobby, but at the same time might also be a precaution.
Oh, sure. Yeah, can't be too careful with all these.
No one's going to be handling my food.
Yeah, no way.
And man, she gunned down that one guy who openly admitted to being a spy.
Oh, yeah.
Never admit to being a spy.
Man, she took him out quick.
Yeah.
Did that whole situation with Kycilia and Giran go down in a satisfactory way for you? Like, Kycilia definitely had a good showing.
Yeah.
Did you want a better showing from Giran? Because I felt like he was maybe a little too trusting in that scene.
Yeah. On the one hand, I was like, okay, now Giran's here. He's going to take over as the main villain. And then my expectations got subverted a bit. And I was like, oh, God, she's doing it. At first, since Cecilia was going down and choking out, I thought, okay, she's not like Darth Vadering her. She must have hit her with like a needle that's in a bracelet or something.
Oh, yeah. I thought maybe they sat on a needle or something like that. Yeah.
And then the Admiral started, going out. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, a weapon or somehow something in their food. I don't know. Darts that they didn't see.
I thought that was a very clever way to work in the mask.
Oh, that was a brilliant use of the mask and really explains why she has it. So you're not really sure in situations where she's ready to gas a room and she'll be fine.
Right. And you could even read into that more and say that she's been wearing that mask to establish that this is just what she wears in the case that she has to do this in the future.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah. At any moment, she's probably ready to gas a room if she needs to get out of it or there's an advantage in gassing the room. So, and then I was like, we're in an alternate universe, but at the same time, certain things have to happen.
Yeah.
I went along with that at that point. I was pleasantly surprised at how it played out. But at the same time, it does feel like we were a little bit robbed of a Giran.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other half of that is just practical. Like, how much can you really fit in 12 episodes? Because this was packed, right? There was not a lot of room for a whole lot of else.
True.
I guess if you're going to only do 12, then you can only get one of those two in there. I think this show probably needed another 6 episodes, at least 3.
At the same time, though, like there's constraints always by how many episodes,
Sure.
or freedom by how many episodes you're going to give you, how excessive amounts of episodes you have.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, well, let's see who's on the chessboard. We got Char.
Yeah.
We got Machu, and then like the new characters. How much interaction can we physically and verbally imagine happening with Girin and Machu?
Right.
I don't think Girin is going to engage with her too much, just because we're orders of magnitude different, like intellect and role in the story. Even Char and Girin, I can't think of them talking once in the original series.
No, they don't. Yeah.
There's too many ranks between them.
I mean, if Char got to talk to him, he probably would have killed him, right? So
maybe, or I think Char would have played it cool, but at the same time, maybe Char doesn't want to get that close to Girin.
Could be.
Girin's unaware. Girin killed his own father. Do you really want to get that close to Girin?
Right, yeah. No, you don't. There was one thing, it was mentioned only once. It was when Shalia requests that a Kikaroga or a Browbro be brought to him so that he could protect Cassilia. They mentioned that, it's going to be hard because of the ban on Saikami weapons. That was interesting. We've never had that before.
No. Is this an exclusive ban on Xeon? Like, how could the Federation make them? I don't really think they're very good at making them.
Maybe that was the deal that the Federation struck of like, okay, we'll ban these weapons and we'll back off. Like, that kind of makes sense, I guess, right?
Say what you will about the Federation, but like with the paperwork and stuff, they're pretty good.
Yeah, their lawyers are on top of it.
They wrote the Antarctic Treaty, and they're like, look, let's just sit down, read what we wrote. I think you'll like it too. So after witnessing Solomon get like a hole taken out of it, I'm sure they sat down and said, look, we can't be playing with these psychic weapons anymore.
So one last thing before we get to the Solar Ray and the Kira. I have a lot to say on those. I don't like complaining about things like this, but I gotta say, Isaac, the new Char dub voice didn't really work for me. How did you feel?
I thought it was okay. It didn't bother me. I didn't think about it too much. For the record, though, I hate Char.
You do hate Char. Yeah. And this is not to say that the guy did a bad job, because I think he did a fine job. I don't think there's anything wrong with his performance. It just didn't fit like my mental template of what Char sounds like. And we've had, I think this is probably now the 5th major Char, at least for dubs. There was Michael Kopsa, who did the series and Char's Counterattack. That's kind of the Char that we grew up with, so that's the Char that makes sense in my head. So when I hear Char, I hear Michael Kopsa. Yeah. I believe he's dead, so rest in peace, Michael Kopsa. Before that, as we mentioned on one of the other podcasts, in the original dub of the Mobile Suit Gundam movies, which you can't really find anymore, Stephen Bloom or Spike Spiegel did Char. I could definitely see someone casting him as Char.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I have not heard that, but that kind of makes sense. Zeta was done by a different dub studio, so the Quattro was dubbed by Tom Edwards. And I had no problem with the Zeta dub back then. I mean, I haven't watched it in years, so that'll be interesting when we rewatch Zeta.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind the new guy who did it in Origin and Unicorn, Keith Silverstein. I thought he did a good job. To me, he wasn't like Michael Kopsa, but I thought he did a good job. And it still kind of made sense to me. The new guy, Kyle McCarley, I don't know. Maybe it was just, I feel like Char had more of an accent this time, and that's what threw me off. I don't know. Just didn't work for me. So I was curious what your thoughts were, listeners. Did this Char work for you from a dub perspective, or you just don't care? Am I just high? But I did notice, Isaac, so when they showed the Char in the flashback, or other side Char, as it's been termed, they brought back the guy who did it in Origin. So that Char was voiced by Keith Silverstein. So that was kind of fun.
I mean, what kind of helps it sink in, though, and flow along with the story is that, it's not Char at first. It's it's Blanca that combs his hair forward.
Yes, that was a more ridiculous disguise than even the sunglasses, wasn't it?
and Cassilia sees through it immediately.
Yeah.
In her defense, though, like, she's seen Char a lot the more you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, she saw him as a kid.
Right.
She saw him as, like, a teenager. She saw him, kind of escaping, I guess. She's been around him more than anybody else in the Zabi family, really. It was also kind of funny how she mentioned, like, she kind of wished she had his hair.
Yeah, well, if you met a guy that had, like, sheepdog hair like that, wouldn't you just be like, what are you doing?
Sheepdog hair?
He looked like a sheepdog, didn't he? Like the old sheepdog from Looney Tunes, where his hair covers his eyes.
Brian. That guy's a sheepdog.
He is.
Your call sign from now on is sheepdog.
Yeah, Ralph Wolf and Sam Sheepdog.
You're right.
That hippie needs a haircut, Isaac.
He had no mask, so he had to comb his hair in front of his eyes. God, Cassilia, man. Stay away from the Daikins.
All right, so my last main points, Isaac, are on the Solar Ray and the Kira. So one thing I thought that was interesting, I learned a new term. watching this show for OO parts. Did you catch that?
No, what is that?
Okay, so there was a part of the show where they talked about how the Omega Psychomu in the GQuuuuuuX is made of OO parts. And OO parts stand for out-of-place artifacts.
Interesting.
An out-of-place artifact, an OO part, or an OO part, is an artifact of historical, archaeological, or paleontological interest to someone that is claimed to have been found in an unusual context, which someone claims to challenge conventional historical chronology by its presence in that context. So, for example, like the most famous one, which is on the wiki page, is the Antikythera mechanism. I don't know how to say that. That's that Greek contraption that people think is a computer from like 200 BC.
Sure.
But here, they said that they basically built the Omega Psychomu using OO parts that they found from the Rose of Sharon. And I'm a little confused on that, because does that mean they took pieces off of the Rose of Sharon when they felt like we couldn't really touch Lala? So how'd they get the pieces off? Or like, how did that help them anyway? Because if they were already developing their own Psychomu, because remember, they were making their own Elmeth, and then they took the Psychomu out of that and they put it in the Red Gundam. That's why it has bits. So I'm not really clear on like why we needed that. But perhaps that could have been expanded on had the show had more time. So, I mean, I guess you didn't catch that OO parts thing, but I was like, what the hell is an OO part? So if anyone has thoughts on the OO parts, make that make sense to me. I wasn't sure why that was necessary. So the other thing about the solar ray, which I don't understand, Isaac, is I've been trying to piece out the things that happened in order up until Kycilia firing the solar ray, which maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I just enjoy the glow and the Kira. But because they said that the solar ray used the Rose of Sharon as its power source.
Mm-hmm.
But they lost the Rose of Sharon for like 6 years. So would Kycilia just not have been able to fire the solar ray without the Rose of Sharon? Like, had they not found Lala, what would have happened? Was finding Lala at that moment just fortuitous? And by finding Lala, I mean finding the Rose of Sharon at the bottom of the sea. Because weren't they like on the way to introduce the solar ray anyway?
Yeah, it couldn't have been built like overnight.
Right. No, it's a long time coming, right? So like, what if you just didn't find Lala? Like, would you just not have a power source, or how does that work?
See, I assume those ring of lights that we saw around the solar ray were powering it, but I don't know. And then they had the scientist inside in the control ship.
Right.
The like got crushed and kind of swatted out of his bridge.
Never a good place
really
to be.
Powered. No. Man, the control ship of any solar weapon is always in trouble.
No, you got to get out of there. Don't be there.
I don't know. It seemed powered on its own. I don't know why there are a lot of story issues at that point, as far as now we're entering in the entrance of the multiverse. So
and maybe was the G-Fred powering it, but they did hook it up, right? At the end?
I think so.
I don't know. I feel like you got to rewatch the last 2 episodes of this show. A lot happens.
Why was Lala covered in like thorny vines? I know they keep saying the rose, but like, did it literally have to be like these red thorny glow vines? That was kind of weird, I thought.
What did Shalia say? He said that she was in an unstable state because she was not supposed to be from this universe or something like that.
Oh, God.
So she was like stuck in time. So that's an interesting concept.
I almost wish they just kept it a unique alternate what if, rather than say, well, the original universe is like bleeding into this one.
Well, it wasn't even the original one, because remember, she came from one where Shar died.
Yeah.
So it's not even the original Lala. It's another Lala. But there are apparently infinite Lalas, because she goes around, because this particular Lala goes around creating new Lala. I don't know.
I like how they showed each attempt where they try. They just put Shar in a different vehicle.
Yes.
Like he's in like the red Zom. He's in like a Dom. He's in a Gelgu. They just move him around.
Oh, that's right. And yeah, did you catch the one at the top though?
No,
that was a deep cut. So for Shar's counterattack, I believe the Evangelion designer submitted some designs for Shar's counterattack, and they weren't used, but he submitted designs for New Gundam and for the Sazabi.
Okay.
And so they showed the one at the top was the Sazabi design that was unused.
Ah. That's pretty cool.
So that was a deep cut. I was like, "What?" Because on the first pass, I didn't recognize what that was, and I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, I have seen those designs, but I mean, I saw them, years and years ago. Just something of interest. It's not something that I had burned into my memory." Yeah. Okay. So then the Kira, Isaac. So what are your thoughts on the Kira? The Kira, according to the wiki, is a Japanese onomatopoeia meaning sparkling or twinkling. And true to its name, the people experiencing it see themselves surrounded by sparkles. Blah blah blah. They also hear the Lala song. I enjoyed hearing the Lala song. I thought that was a good use of it in this show. The wiki says that this was the first time it was ever given a name. However, there are 2 people that I saw on Reddit. Their names are Jocko Wab. Sorry if that's not how to say your name. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you want. And Shinkiju. That the term Kira was first used in the 0079 novelization by Tomino-san. to describe the phenomenon, when Amuro and Lala were talking, like what it looked like or whatever. And you can also see this in the original show. There's a very similar effect to the Kira Kira in the episode called A Cosmic Glow. Dark blue background, twinkling lights, etc. I have the English novelization of the original, 0079 story. Does anyone know what page this is on in the English version? Because it is an onomatopoeia, so I'm not sure what I'm really looking for. I'm not sure how that would be translated, but I thought that was very interesting. I haven't seen that added to the wiki, so if someone can find it, I think that would be cool. And then probably the coolest thing I've seen in the last day or two, Isaac, is someone on Reddit. There's a thread on Reddit started by Z the Bun called Literally Living in Kira Kira After All. Speculation from @SharTweet. So I think this is someone on Twitter or whatever it's called these days. And someone noticed, Isaac, that at the end of the show, when they're on the beach, their phones are laying on something. And there's an 11-hour difference between Machu and her mom's time zones. Assuming side 6 follows UTC plus 0, Machu is in UTC plus 11. UTC plus 11 is mostly made up of Pacific islands like Solomon Islands, New Caledonia, Micronesia, plus Papua New Guinea. The capital of Makira-Ulawa province of Solomon Islands is Kira Kira, Isaac. Machu and Nyan are literally living in Kira Kira, he says, after all.
Okay.
There's an island with the capital is named Kira Kira in the Solomon Sea. That's pretty cool.
This person's like a geography savant.
I don't know how they found that out.
To understand.
Yeah.
What do I think about Kira Kira as in the spectral dimension?
I mean, the whole show was based on this chasing the Kira Kira, causing the Zeknova.
Yeah.
Do you think that was an effective? It was very destructive when it was used, in the solar ray and for the Zeknovas and stuff. But
destructive, or I mean, it really saved Granada.
Oh, true. That's true. You're like, excuse me. I think you mean patriotic victory for Zeon.
It's kind of good that we get a name for like the actual astral plane that we've seen in countless Gundam series. The only difference is this time it's treated as like a crossroads between different Gundam universes, or with many universes, I should say. So I thought it was interesting. I was fine with it. I think one interesting observation is this might be the only Gundam series where they're floating around in their clothes.
They are in their clothes in 0079.
Okay.
Probably 2 in Char's Counter. It's been a while since I rewatched Zeta. Yeah. I don't remember those.
In recent
ones, yes.
In recent modern content, they are now wearing clothes. Thank God.
Seed eschews clothing, Isaac. They don't.
Yeah.
Kira and Lacus, they don't have time for that anymore. Oh, there was also a really funny meme on Reddit where I forgot who posted it. I think I closed it already, but it was someone drew a little chibi comic of Nyan and Machu arriving on the beach. But it's the same beach that Kira and Lacus were doing it on at the end of Freedom, and so they're kind of grossed out. This was really funny.
Get a room.
Kira and Lacus just couldn't wait. They had to go right there.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, the freedom. So, I mean, I was okay with it. It's just another interpretation, I thought, very kaleidoscopy of the same astral plane we've seen in countless series. So, yeah, I was glad to see it. Interesting that it has such a strong role in the story, being able to move people across different universes. It was par for the course. It's a Gundam trope at this point.
Yeah, and the story, a lot of it revolved around Lala at the end of the day, Isaac, who we all know, if you've listened to this podcast, Lala is not your favorite character. So it doesn't sound like that really stopped you, though, from enjoying the show.
No, it didn't. But one thing towards the end, I don't say it turned me off from the show, but I felt like, I had a speed bump because I thought we just crossed over into sci fantasy. And that was when the original Gundam, I mean, I'm fine with it appearing, but then it somehow, in defiance of physics, just dramatically increases in size, becomes gigantic. At that point, I was like, okay, this was unnecessary. I felt like that was a bad choice. It was cool seeing it in all white, like how Tamino originally wanted. But at the same time, I was like, oh, come on. Did you have to make it grow so huge? That was, yeah.
I would say that the show is a little bit of a super robot show up until that point. But especially in that battle, it became like full-on super robot show. Like they may have well just started shouting their attack names.
Pretty much. I think it could be removed.
Because like at one point, even I believe it was the GQuuuuuuX, right? Was like running up the big Gundam.
I don't even
And I was like, how is this
was
working? I was like, are they still in space? Like what? But no, you're not supposed to think about that.
physics are out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is a setting with like lasers and, spaceships and all that, but nothing's really changing or breaking like the rules of their own physics until that point.
Yeah.
Not my favorite part of the series at that point, yeah.
Oh, yeah. One thing I forgot on the solar ray. They made that big point about how Shar had been working for that team and had been putting in that other ability to send the Rose of Sharon back. So, like, is he like a theoretical physicist now?
I don't know.
Where did he get all this adeptness at physics and particle physics and whatever he must have used to address this?
He has to be, because like the amount of stuff he's witnessed as he travels the universe, as he's experienced things. Sure, if you've gone through it as part of Lala's little experience, her out of place experience and all the collateral damage from it, yeah, you're now a physicist. Quantum mechanic yourself into the next situation.
And then Isaac, I would be remiss. I've been discussing this show with Australian Isaac.
Oh.
He loved the show, Isaac, because he's a big Ava fan. And if you remember, he told us he bet that the GQuuuuuuX's mouth would open and it would go crazy like an Eva or like an Ava. That's true. That ended up happening, right? Mouth opened, it screamed, it roared. That was weird. That was new for Gundam.
Very Ava, yeah. Even the colors of the
oh yeah, the G-Fred.
Yeah, too Ava.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose for me on that one, but.
Yeah.
So he had a mind-altering fan theory. I'm going to ask him to record something, and maybe he'll let us put it on the podcast, because I think he's just a funny guy, so I think it'd be funny if everyone got to hear Australian Isaac, because he does actually exist. We don't make this guy up, right?
Oh, yeah.
So him and I were discussing about how, and this is like a commonly known thing now, the last episode, Isaac, is called That's Why I. That's a reference to Tomino's autobiography called That's Why I Am on the Path to Gundam. And his mind-altering theory, he said, I got this theory that I've had since finding out the name of the finale. Shuji is Tomino, but he's Tomino written by Hideaki Anno. So it's like Shinji being Anno in Evangelion, but this time it's Tomino being Shinji. And Shinji and Shuji are very similar in like the construction of the name.
Okay.
So I'm going to give him the opportunity to explain this.
You're on the clock, buddy.
Yeah.
Australia would have been target number 1 for the solar ray.
Okay, listeners, without further ado, here's Australian Isaac.
Okay, so I got a conspiracy for you. It has been on the boiler for a bit, so it is cooking, and it might be well done. Tomino and Enno are Shuji. Yep. Tomino and Enno. Before I thought it was just Tomino. But then I've had more time to think about it and saw the last episode, and I'm like, no. Tomino and Enno are Shuji. And it is based on the fact, back in Evangelion, Enno was Shinji. And back in Gundam, Amuro was Tomino. And if we combine their names, taking the in out of Shinji and the U out of Amuro, and we like Final Fusion activate, we get Shuji. Which then has a whole lot of character fun when you think about Machu. And, did we ever find out her name? Yeah, her, Studio Kara, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because we all remember Machu and we all remember Sunrise, but no one can remember Studio Kara. They both froth the hell out of Shuji, because, hey, it's like Sunrise froths Gundam, sometimes. Studio Kara froths Evangelion. Well, it pays it pays the bills. And it's both their guys, like, mixed together in one. And after the last episode, I see it as Tomino and Enno's character, Shuji, being able to just take Enno's side for a change. But in this regard, Enno has, like, a love story that he's written and is, like, able to have the chance to thank Tomino, who is Sunrise. Let's be real. Like, come on. He's able to, like, say all the things to Thing, and it's like, yeah, man, I love you. It's not Thing saying it to Thing, it's Enno saying it to Sunrise and Tomino, which is like, aww. Makes it a whole lot less cringe than Hobo says, I love you to girl he's known like half a minute and is taken advantage of. And when you think about it, Machu being Sunrise, Gundam colours, very toy. And then you've got G-Fred, Evangelion colours. It's Studio Kara. Also, another way to say that Shuji is Tomino, what does he want to do? He wants to kill them all. If he take off Salala, who is a new type, which he was never a big fan of in the end or something, I think he said it. Fairly sure he said. Anyways, he gets to kill them all. Tomino gets to kill them all. And what does Eno get to do in Even Gel? He kills them all. Yeah. See, I told you it's been cooking. Conspiracy.
Big thanks to Australian Isaac for sending that to us. I don't know, he could be onto something. That Kill 'Em All topper is pretty good. I like that. After he recorded that message, he sent me another message after noticing that Shuji's character design looks like an accumulation of alternate timeline Gundam protagonists. He dresses like Hiro, talks to the Gundam like Mika. He's got hair like Garrett from Gundam X, and he could even see some age in the face. And he was super moody like Shinji from Evangelion. Also, he pointed out that the colors of Conch are the colors of Char's spacesuit in Char's counterattack, and the white Haro in GQuuuuuuX is the color of Amuro's spacesuit in Char's counterattack. So, I don't know, Australian Isaac. It might all be connected, just like you said. Any other thoughts, Isaac, maybe on like the mecha? I guess we didn't really talk about the mecha.
The mecha itself, some unique looks, like the, I guess you could call it the Psycho Gundam.
Yeah, I think it's called the Psycho Gundam something.
Sure. The faceless Psycho.
Yeah.
And then also, very interesting, they decided Shalia Bull's mobile armor would actually transform into a mobile suit.
Yes, that was trippy.
Came out of nowhere.
Was that necessary, do you think?
Not really.
Just kind of cool.
Yeah. The Gaian/Gian that we saw, they were okay. Nothing to write home about. The Doms with the third leg, not a fan.
Oh, man. Okay, but would you put that Dom over the Dom Trooper, though, from Seed?
Maybe for uniqueness, I guess.
Okay.
Because the Dom Trooper brings nothing new.
Sure.
That's really it.
On the Gyan, Isaac, I thought, I was like, okay, this Gyan looks cool. I'm not sure that it was better than some of the Gyan redesigns that we've seen in the Universal Century already.
Yeah.
But I wondered, I was like, oh, this is the first time we've gotten two of the same suit redone in such a short amount of time, because we just got a Gyan in Freedom.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember? And I pulled up the Freedom one because I was like, oh, I wonder which one's better. So I pulled up the one in Freedom, and then I pulled up this one, and the one in Freedom looks like kind of like a joke compared to the one in the show. The one in the show looks a lot better. I just sent both of them to you.
Yeah, the one in the show was definitely better. We got a little Crossbone Vanguard with the one in GQuuuuuuX.
Yeah, very regal, huh?
Yeah, I kind of liked it to that degree. But other than that, I mean, the only thing I'll say is the side 6, they're Zaku's.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a cool, sinister blurple. They paint them.
Blurple. This is the most menacing blurple's ever been.
Navy purple. Yeah, so I thought, okay, you know what? They really don't shine too much, but so I'll give Side 6 credit for at least making sure that their small military was like at least visually intimidating next to Zeon.
Yeah, I think we talked about the Zaku's and the Gundams in our beginning review, so I'm not going to re-talk about those. They kind of grew on me over the show. I don't think, when you see them in action, they're a little more lively, so it's not like I hate them or anything. I still don't really like the red Gundam or the white Gundam.
No.
What did you think about the Gelgoog looking like a gym? Lore-wise, that made a lot of sense, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, at first I heard Gelgoog, and then I saw it, and I was like, isn't that just a gym space type? And then I was looking at the eyes and stuff. I was like, okay, they got sort of a three-eyed thing going on here. Yeah. But I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah. And I really liked the Hambrabi. I think that got a nice redesign. That whole episode was like a little Zeta love letter, so I liked that. That was fun.
Sadly, it didn't last very long.
Yeah, he didn't do very well, but it looked cool on the way out.
He was fighting Shalia.
That's true, yeah. The Grey Ghost.
I mean, you got 12 episodes, so it's not going to be a huge roster of new suits and vehicles or ships, listeners. But you know what? For what it is, you're going to enjoy watching it, I think. Yeah.
All right, Isaac, hit us with your final thoughts then.
All right. Well, GQuuuuuuX, it's a miniseries. It's pretty unique. Pretty hard to describe, actually, unless you experience it. I'd recommend it for fans of the Universal Century. If you're going in blind, you can still enjoy it, but I feel like you're going to get the most out of it if you've actually seen a lot more UC content. So for that reason, I recommend you focus on the UC before diving into QuuuuuuuX. And as far as scores go, I will give GQuuuuuuX, oh boy, I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 Haros.
I have a similar sentiment. I cannot deny the director's style. Watching GQuuuuuX kind of makes me want to watch Fooly Cooley, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to see him make a Gundam show that's unshackled from the Gundam baggage.
Sure.
So like clan battle is a fun idea. Perhaps we could have a whole other show about just like a real clan battle show. But I think this show was really like a Universal Century mega fan show disguised as a Fooly Cooley Ava Gundam hybrid. I feel like non-UC Gundam people might be a little confused at the end. Like all the Psycommu, Zeknova, Kira, like I don't know what's going on there if I don't watch Gundam. I didn't really, mesh with the original 3 characters. I felt like they were a little underdeveloped, just sort of used as the story vehicle to delay the reveal of the mystery in episode 11 and 12 that was laid out in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I loved all the throwbacks and references, tri-stars, using the old music. I loved seeing the old episode title effects, the old eye catch from the 79 show, Isaac, where it goes, shoo! That was fun.
Yeah.
A few episodes. Seeing the Hammurabi, the Psycho Gundam, the final shooting. I feel like it needed more episodes. It was too short. Another 3 episodes, another 6 episodes. At least one on Earth with Artesia and Rambaral. I've seen reactions of both kinds online, Isaac. I've seen people be like, this was the worst Gundam show I've ever watched. What were they doing?
My God.
Blah, blah, blah. I've seen some people like Australian Isaac. I think they said it's one of his favorite shows. I think you just kind of have to step back and say, this is what this show was. It was dessert for the UC fans. It was short. And I don't think they necessarily cared about things making all that much sense. I think it was just like enjoying the journey and getting to the end. And if you enjoyed it, great. If you didn't, maybe the show wasn't for you. So as on a whole, I think I would give the show a 7.5 out of 10. If you don't ask too many questions and you just are there for the candy, Isaac, if you just want to eat your sweet cake, I think you could bump it up to an 8 out of 10. But if you were looking for something with like serious what if world building with a airtight plot, I don't think this is what you had in mind. But it's still a really enjoyable show. I liked it a lot. And I would watch it, like if they made a movie sequel or something, I'd be fine with that. I don't know that we'll get a full season 2. Do you want a season 2 of this, Isaac? You said you were done, right? Well, you're done with the cake. You don't need a second cake.
I think they told the story they wanted to tell, and they closed it out. We saw Lala and Char reunited. We saw Zeon back in the rightful hands, I guess, or leadership of far more benevolent people who likely will make peace with the Earth Federation. I think we saw our new characters go off and pursue a better life of, I guess, clear relaxation.
Well, I think people are asking, do we want to see Machu and Nyan go find Shuji? Because they don't know where he is.
I think Shuji went to wherever Amuro would go to in some type of dimensional crossroads. So no, they don't look like they're going anywhere soon. They look like they're just going to enjoy their time on the beach. So I think the story's done. I think it was great, and I think, I think it was great to experience. I'd be very curious about more alternate timeline stuff they can show us rather than bringing back these same characters.
And that's my final question to you, Isaac. This is now the alternate What If Zeon 1 show.
Yeah.
If this is the only alternate What If Zeon 1 show we ever get, are you satisfied, or do you wish it would have been used?
I'm not satisfied if this is the only alternate What If. There's lots of alternate What Ifs in the mangas, I believe. So I think we should explore more. There's a lot of blank spaces on the map to fill up for Gundam, especially for the UC. So no, I don't want this to be the last alternate What If Zeon 1 story.
There you have it, listeners.
Yeah.
All right, hit us with your comments. Let us know what you thought about the series. If you have any answers to those questions we asked, like where is Kira in the original novelization? What page can I go find it? I just want to see how they translated it in English. Do you want to see a season 2 or a movie? If you do, what would happen in that movie? Would all the OG characters be sidelined? What are you guys thinking? What were your favorite parts, least favorite parts? Anyone have any comments on the Rose of Sharon and all those things? Yeah. Let us know how you enjoyed GQuuuuuuX. Any questions for the listeners, Isaac?
What do you think would have happened if Zeon won?
like an alternate version of this show?
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
I'll leave the question open-ended. What do you see happening if Zeon won the 1-year war?
All right. There you go. Maybe we'll collect all your responses and do a whole episode on it.
We'll do it. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, Isaac. Take us away.
All right, listeners. Before you go sleep tonight, stand next to your bed. Get on your knees, put your hands together, look up at the ceiling, and hail Zeon.
Good night, everybody.